You caught me. I was taking that clutter away, but I thought I was not live. So, hello, friends, and welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Nairo, and today is episode 3 of Teaching Tutorials. Teaching Treasures Tutorials. How is everyone doing? Hang on one second. I am going to set up my phone again. Let me see. Hang on one second. Because can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me? Hello, let's see who is all the friends that are here. There is a whole lot of you, and I am so appreciative of every single one of you. But if I start mentioning all the names now, we'll be here for like 10 minutes because I talk a lot. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Let me go ahead and set this up here. So today is going to be really fun. I love, as you know, you guys probably can see a little bit of a trend with me. I love pillowcases. I love making pillowcases, and there's actually going to be more videos about pillowcases and the different ways of making a pillowcase in the near future. But today we're going to start with making a standard pillowcase. Okay. I made the mistake in not bringing the one that I made during the Night Owls Discord event. I wasn't prepared to have it here to show you a finished product. It's actually in the thumbnail, but that's not a help. So let's just go ahead and get started and make a standard pillowcase. Now, before we do, I did wanted to just mention a few informational points, and then we'll get started. So first of all, how are you guys doing? What are you working on today? I absolutely love going back and reading all the comments. I still have to catch up on a few comments from yesterday's live, because I do have very good questions that I do want to address. But while I go over this information, maybe you guys can tell me what is a project that you are working on that you're super excited about. I want to know. We all want to know. So first of all, let's talk about the materials that we're going to need. There are different sizes for pillowcases, right? There is a standard pillowcase, and yes, we have like the travel size type pillows, and there's different, those dimensions can vary as well. But for today's video, we're going to be focusing on just the regular pillow for the bed. And we have standard, we have a queen standard, we have queen size, king size, California king size, and then we move on to Euro pillow shams, I believe. Well, shams are slightly different, but the Euro sizes as well, which I absolutely love them, you guys. I love them because it's just a square, so that's perfect, right? So anyhow, today we are going to be making okay, so a standard is about 20, oh man, is it 20 by 30? Hang on, I wrote all my notes. We're gonna be making a standard size that would fit either a standard or a queen size pillow, because for those, because that size is the most common whenever we need a pillow and we go to any store and pick up. It's usually one of those pillows. So um yeah, we're gonna be making the 20 by 30, but a standard is 20 by 26 or 28. So, but we're going to be making a queen standard just because it's a tad longer and it's going to be as a finished product, and it will fit either one of the pillows that you may possibly pick up, and it'll be perfect. So for materials, we are going to need any cotton woven, any fun, I'm sorry, I kind of drew a blank. And FYI, you guys, please be very patient with me because that happens a lot. I blank a lot and I forget words. Hashtag words. um, but a lot of times I do come back rather quickly. Um, so yeah, so we do. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Um, I have no idea. So I'm just gonna move on and say about the materials. I know we were talking about the materials, but I wasn't. Anyways, moving on. Moving on. The materials that we're gonna need. Oh, I got it. I just remembered. So it crossed my mind that yes, you can use other materials. Like for example, you can use satin. Um, for any type of bedding. But for today's video, we're going to be working with cotton woven. So, just pick up any cute design, cute prints that you have around, and that's what we'll need. In the events that you want to add um any binding, it's not a binding, bias tape, you can. I don't have any bias tape and I don't want to make it from scratch, even though it's super 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 simple. But I do have a short dedicated video on that, so I'm going to leave that for another day. So now that you have your fabric, here we are going to cut two pieces, and with these two pieces, one is going to be the body and one is going to be the rim or the cuff, maybe is a better word. So the cuff we are going to cut at 12 inches wide, and we're not going to open at the fold when we get it from the bolt. We are going to keep it on the fold, okay? But we are going to cut 12 inches wide. We're going to set this to the side, and then the body for this particular size, we're going to cut at 24 inches long. Again, we're going to keep it folded at the as it came from the bolt. Okay. The other thing I need is your iron. So I already have that set and turned on so they could be ready to go. And then this is the wool mat that I have. I absolutely love it. I know we were talking about it very slightly before, I think on the Discord, and very briefly, and or was it on someone's live? Now I forgot. But anyways, somebody had mentioned it and I was like, oh yeah, I have one too. It smells like a barn whenever it's in use, because it does smell. I've had this for a long time and it still smells like a barn. But the good news is it does not transfer onto the fabric. So no fret, because it doesn't stay on the fabric or on the project that you're working on. So you're gonna need that. You are going to need pins. You can use clips, and I typically like to use clips or for like everything, but it's easier. I'll say it. I'll admit it. It's easier to use pins. All right. So let's get going. The first thing that I am going to do with this particular fabric is that I'm going to iron it because it does have a lot of creases. Okay. And I want to make sure that everything is flattened out so that whenever I am working with my raw edges, and I get my finished product, it's not like lopsided or anything like that. So while I do that, I am going to catch up on comments. Let's see. And you guys, just because I know there's a lot, there is a lot of comments flowing and stuff like that. If you have a question, what we can do is you can either highlight my name if you're on a computer and you're able to, or maybe you can capitalize the letters, do all caps so that it can stand out maybe. But yeah, so that way I'm able to not miss. Let's see. Let's see. It's hope it's blurry. I don't know what to do about that. Actually, Z had mentioned that to me. But I don't know how to fix the quality of the video being blurry. Huh. I hope it's not too bad, because if it is, then I would have to switch to my phone. Like, is it really bad? Like for right now? Because when I'm on my phone, I know that the quality is way better to what I'm finding out. It's good for now? Okay. Okay. Mary, you're fine. We're about to start actually. Yes. Hello everyone. Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is so weird. So, this is a new camera. This is the infamous Sony ZV-1, and I need to like really figure out why the videos are not as clear. It's supposed to be 4K. So it's funny that the cell phone has better quality. I'm sure that I'm doing something wrong. I also need to get a new iron, because this one does the job, but it's quite slow. Like, it doesn't heat up. It does not heat up properly. Okay, that's good enough that is good enough. I'm going to put this to the side for now, and I am going to do the same with this one. Now, with this being a live, it's a lot longer with all these ironing steps than if it were a video. But I do want to cover both the sewing machine and the serger today. All right, so this one is done. I'm going to put this to the side. Okay, so again, I'm not using a bias tape. So what we're going to do, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to see if you guys can. Let me see. Maybe I can, maybe this is a good view. What we're going to do is we're going to open the body of the pillow. We're going to completely open it and we are going to face it pretty side up. Hi, Maria. Welcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was very excited when we were able to, but there's apparently a lot of learning curve. So I don't have a lot of space because I do have the computer set up here. So we're going to have the body of the pillow completely opened from the fold. Just completely open it. And we are going to have the pretty set up and we're going to take the, let's call it a cuff. We are going to, so in this case, right, it's hard to tell which is the pretty side up because, which is the pretty side because it's a solid fabric. But if you can tell, then great. Just make sure that you have the pretty side looking down. Okay, so it's going to be pretty side to pretty side. Say that you have a bias tape or maybe lace, because a lot of people like to put something super pretty in between. You would put the body first facing up, and then you would put the bias tape, whatever that may be. If it's a satin, if it's another cotton, if it's a lace, whatever trimmings you may want to add, and that would be next. Okay. And then you would then put the cuff right on top. And when we do this, we want to make sure that the edges are lined up, edge to edge. Okay, at this point, we want to pin all the way. Let me go down a little bit more. At this point, we want to pin this all the way across, and it's going to be, you don't have to put too many. You'll see what I mean. So the pins that I have are not the best. These are meant for like satin materials, but no, I can't. No, for this project, it'll be like too much. Hang on 1 second. Where is it? Okay. I am going to use these really awful pins. They're awful. They're pretty, but they're awful. And if you have these, you may or may not agree. I don't have the best experience with it, but I'm going to use it because they're longer. The other ones are really, really thin. Really, really short. I can't do this sitting. Let's see. Thank you so much, Mary. Yeah, so I'm going to separate it a little bit more for now. I will add more pins later, but like, I don't know. Like, you really have to puncture the fabric because they're not sharp. They are not sharp at all. I need to order a new case of pins. And yeah, you guys, this pillowcase is gonna be for my son. Even though my youngest daughter might fight over it because she loves Minecraft. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is, after you kind of pin the top, I know that you probably can barely see. Let me see if I can push the camera back a little bit more. Oh, that's better. Okay, so now that I have done that, what we're going to do is we are going to turn this around. And we are going to be doing, I guess I didn't mention that at first. We're going to be doing two methods today, okay? This first one that we're going to be doing is going to be with the sewing machine, and we're going to do the burrito method. A lot of people also call it the sausage roll. And we're also going to do a French seam. So if you've never done a French seam, it's going to be super exciting because that's what we're going to be doing today. It's super easy. Like, you're going to be impressed. I promise, because I know I was. And I learned that at first when I was like less than basic at sewing. So I know that you guys are going to find it super easy as well. So we're going to start rolling the body of the pillow up, okay? Just like the scrunchie, kind of, sort of. The idea is that we're going to be rolling this up into a small roll, and we are going to, well, make sure that the bottom, first of all, is straight and not, here it is. So we are going to be rolling this so that it lands in the middle. Okay, so it lands in the middle. And then we're going to bring this bottom piece up and match it up with the top raw edges. Okay, so now I typically like to kind of grab the middle, and the middle is shown by that very prominent crease when it was folded by the bolt. And I'm going to start pinning there just so that I don't miss my middle point. And then I'm going to start pinning. At this point, if you need to add more pins, please do so. It is, again, very important to note that you want to make sure that you keep it straight. Okay, so if you need to add more, again, it's okay. Okay, almost done. The pinning process could be a little bit long, especially if you are a beginner, because you just want to make sure that you grab all 3 layers, or 4 if you have a bias tape in the middle. Let's see. Okay, so the reason why I'm always sitting is because this table is really, really low and it kills my back. So we're gonna leave it as is for now, and I'm gonna bring out the sewing machine. The sewing machine that I have is the Brother Project Runway, and it is here. This is the one that I have and the one that I will be using. I also have a walking foot that I typically always have. Hang on. A little tip for if you have any machine, it doesn't matter what machine you have, this tip will be helpful, is you can put one of those mini command hooks on the side, on any of the sides of your machine, and that way you will always have your little like scissors, and or in my case, I always have 1 or 2 safety pins because I use them quite a lot being in the, you know, hair scrunchie headquarters. There's a lot of hair safety pins being used. So I always have 1 or 2 in every machine that I have. I always start with the very long tail, so I just always make sure that it's really super extra long. I don't know if that's any help or anything, but it's just what I do. um, so I am going to do a stitch length of 3.0. I usually just stay within 3.0 or 3.5. If I am adding more layers, I'll do 3.5, but otherwise 3.0 is good. And my needle in the middle. Which for me, it's at a 4.0. All right, so I am done here setting this up. Let me catch up a little bit on comments before we start heading. Let's see. Hi, Barb. Okay, awesome. All right, friends. So at this point, I am ready to go almost. Let me see if I can zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit more. Is that good? Is that view okay? Now just make sure that you don't sew with scissors there, but all right. So I do have a magnetic little block here. So whenever I am done with the pins, it just goes right in there. Okay. And I just moved my fabric. And we are going to do, for this one here, we are going to do a, you can either do a 1/2 inch or you can do a 1/4 inch. I am going to do about a 1/4 inch. But really you can do a 1/2 inch if you are a straight beginner, and this is your first project or one of your very first projects. You can do a 1/2 inch and you will be fine. It's totally okay. Remember to backstitch at the beginning and at the end. Now I do a little bit of an overkill where I do backstitch a couple of times. Let me know if this angle is okay. And take your time with it. Don't try, it's not a race. Because in this case where I didn't line it up in this section here, and remember to always take your pins out of the way before you sew over them, because that can be dangerous in so many different ways. And if you do put the fabric over your shoulder, be careful with the pins. Also, as you're sewing with this hand, you want to make sure that you feel the rolled fabric of the body of the pillow to still be like in its place here, because we don't want to accidentally run over with the sewing and then pin it down. That has happened. It will happen to you at least once. And then you will learn to never again do it. But if you can avoid it, then just make sure that you still feel it over on this side, and that there's enough space where you are confident that you're not going to sew over it. Just like the scrunchies. Same idea. And at the very end, we are going to want to backstitch one more time. Okay, so let me put this sideways so that you guys can see what I am doing here. I hope that this is a good view. I know I've been saying that a lot of times. Welcome, Dams. Let's see. Okay, so we are not going to worry about like the raw edges here, because we're going to be flipping this inside out, and all of this edge is going to stay inside of the cuff part. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to pull the inside. Okay, we're going to pull the inside right out and see how it can be challenging depending on the material that you are using, and depending on the size of the cuff that you're using, but it'll be relatively easy to flip inside out. Of course, in an actual video, it just skips over in less than a second, and it looks a lot easier. Okay, but honestly, it's done. It really is done, and it really is that easy. So don't be afraid. Okay, we don't need this right now, so I'm just going to tuck that in right there, and I am going to, let's see, whoops, do not fly away. Come on. There. There. Okay. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to iron this section here, okay, because I just kind of want to flatten out this seam all the way through, okay. Yeah. And then also, I just wanted to mention that if you did have a bias tape or lace or whatever, decorative trimming, it would have been here, but we're not doing that. We didn't do that this time. Okay, so the point here is we want to be able to make this kind of just iron over the seam and flatten the top here. There it is. It kicked in. This thing is very slow. My dream is to one day own one of those irons that got that little feet that you can just do this and like place it down and then it just shuts off like immediately and stands on its own. Oh my gosh, you guys. But it's pricey. Like it's real pricey. There is a lot of ironing, you guys. So you have to kind of be patient with the process because depending on the quality of your iron is going to determine how quick the process will go. All right, so this is how it looks like for now. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start doing the French seam. Okay, but before we do the French seam, we are going to line this up. We are going to line this up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up with the fabric. I'm not going to line it up with the cuff. Okay, so just because I do want to make sure that I stay even. We're going to cut on this side here to kind of like even out the entire side of the like this whole side. Okay, so it looks like it's pretty even. So I'm going to grab the bottom piece and I'm going to bring it up. Again, this is going to help you if you don't have a lot of space. If you have one of these tables where, hang on, where it has a ruler, then that's great because the bottom piece is not even. Yeah, so I just realized that when I cut, I kind of did a little curve, which means that I don't know, I should have ironed and then cut, but it's okay. It's all right. All right, so now we have it even down. What I was gonna say is if you have one of these tabletops where it has a ruler of sorts, that's great. What we're going to do is that we're going to cut about an inch. Okay, so right now, if you are doing this from the bolt, it should be about 22 inches, in width. So we're going to cut about 1 inch, and that is going to basically get rid of the selvage edge. And that's what we want to do at this point. Remember, you're cutting through a lot of layers, so slow down. Okay, and now that is straight. Now, because I'm super annoyed at the fact by which this is not straight, I am going to even that out. Okay. So now we have the pillowcase prepped for to do the French seam. And the way that we do it is, first of all, we are going to pull out the pins again, okay? And you are going to fold it just like this, pretty size facing up, okay? Pretty size facing up. And you do want to keep it folded in half. Grab your pins, and we're going to start pinning all the way around and down across the bottom. The way that we're going to pin is we're going to start at the seam, because we want to make sure that we match those up. I don't know if you can see it, but we're going to match this seam with this seam as best we could, so that it can look like almost like a seamless connection. Oh boy. Oh, come on. There it is. Okay, there it is. And then I am going to go ahead and pin up here as well. Just bear with me a little bit, because I'm going to do another one. Because these pins are horrible. I'm not going to put too many here, because honestly, since we ironed this, it's not really gonna go anywhere or shift too much. But if you feel that you need more pins, go right ahead, my friend. Like, just put as many pins as it makes you feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, you have to feel comfortable with the project. Okay, so now that we have pinned, what we're going to do is, yes, it's gonna feel like you're doing this backwards. Absolutely, 100%. And that's because we are. So we're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and we are going to start sewing all these edges. Okay, so let's go and do that. Trust me, just trust the process. It's going to be perfect at the ends. Trust the process, my friends. If it looks backwards, it's because it is, but it's also part of the process. So let's go. Are you trusting me in this? I hope so, because it's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the seam allowance for a minute. First of all, we need to make this tail super big. And also, we want to make sure that the seam allowance that we do in this particular step is not mega big. We want to try to do a seam allowance of 1/4 inch. And honestly, if you're not a beginner, or if you are a beginner and you want the challenge, you can even try a 1/8 of an inch, because for this step here, we're we're using this step almost as a tack down stitch, but it's not really. Like, we want it to be a secured stitch, but we're going to be doing yet another seam later on, and you'll see what I mean. But for this step here, try your very best to not do a half inch if you could. If you do, that's totally okay, because technically we are doing this pillowcase a little bit wider, and we want it to end up at being about 20 inches wide, right? So it is going to be slightly more, like 20 and a half, close to 21. So it's okay. And then I'll let you know on what to do to kind of like fix it later. But so let's go. Let me go ahead and move my needle. Oops. Always remember to have your needle in the middle so that you are able to make adjustments as you need. Okay. So for me, what I like to do is, since we evened out all of the edges, I like to just use the side of the presser foot, use that as my guide. If it's easier for you, you can also take I don't know, a piece of tape, or if you're a planner person, you might have somewhere in your planner stash washi tape, and that is the perfect tape to use and put it like across on your machine, and use that as your guide. All right, let's go. You want to remember to back stitch always, always, always. And never forget to take the pins before you sew. When you get to the seam allowance, to that middle seam, you want to slow down so that it doesn't shift on you. But if you do have a walking foot, it should be easier to go right over that seam, not forgetting to take the pin out. When you get to the corner of at the very bottom, you want to make sure to keep the needle down, and we're going to bring the presser foot up, and we're going to pivot. You're wanting to, again, always backstitch at the very end. All right. So, friends, this is what we have so far. Technically, yes, congratulations. You have a pillow, but we're not done just yet. Not yet, okay? We still have um we still have 2 more steps and we are done. So we're going to go ahead and turn, actually nope, 3 because I almost forgot. Let's go ahead and trim these corners. Nope. Hang on. Hang on, hang on. Before we do this, okay? Let's go ahead and trim off just a little bit off of these edges, okay? Now, this is what I have going on. Let me get closer. This is how it looks like to me, for me, okay? And when I cut, I want to probably cut half of this, okay? So we want to cut and go down so that we have about 1/8 of an inch. But make sure that you don't cut through your thread. I'll be honest, I'll be using my scissors for this because I love my rotary cutter, but I'm not a pro at it just yet. And knowing me, I will cut off half of this. So for this part, I will be using my Fiskars. I think that this is a 8-inch or 7-inch. Slow down whenever you get to that middle seam. Because the thing is, remember, there's so much bulk, you know. And we're going to do the same for the bottom. I need to sharpen these scissors because we have made the mistake of using this pair of scissors for other materials. I used to be so strict about it, and I don't know. I just kind of take the little points of the corners, and now we are going to flip it inside out. And as I do that, I'm just pointing out with my hands the corners. And this is what we have so far. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and straighten out these seams. At this point, I am going to do one extra step. If you happen to be making this as a gift and you want to add, make your own little label, you can add it. You could have added this when you were attaching the bias tape to it and stuff like that. And also, like, there's so many different areas that you could have done it. But before it's absolutely too late, I am going to add it now. And I'll be honest, this is a new method for me because I am recently new to having my tags and such. So I am going to just place it anywhere, probably on the bottom here. So I'm putting it basically on the bottom where the cuff ends and like the body begins. And for this, I am going to pin it again. Okay. But before we start pinning, you can pin. I'm not going to because I'm just going to iron everything out and flatten out all the seams. Come on, turn on. There you go. I'm so sorry, friends. I know I haven't been looking at the comments. It's kind of hard to do these projects and kind of I already take long, right? And then it's very challenging. But I will take a break as we are setting up for with the serger. Okay. I am not going to iron on this side where the folded unsewed edge is because you don't need to. Okay, now that we have this ironed, we are going to go ahead and finish this off. So we're going to basically do like a top stitch, right? And we're going to sew a straight stitch straight down all around both edges. Remember to backstitch at the beginning. And at this point, remember how we were talking about the seam allowance when we first did the first straight stitch? And I said, try to keep it a 1/4 inch, possibly even, you know, as the more you do more pillowcases, you might get really, really well good at this, and you can do it 1/8 of an inch. But the purpose of that is because now we're going to do this straight stitch, and with this straight stitch it's going to be encasing and kind of trapping those raw edges inside you know, forever. So we need this seam allowance to be a little bit bigger than that. So if you did 1/8, you can do a 1/4 of an inch on this step here, and that will be big enough for you to enclose the first seam allowance or the first seam and with the raw edges. Or if you did a 1/4 of an inch, then at this point you would need to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and backstitch. Again, I always overkill and I backstitch twice. I always do. I don't know why. Remember, it's not a race. It is not a race. Go slow, especially on that middle. On that middle seam as well, you can even backstage as well. Actually, I'm going to back one, and now I'm going to go. So at the very corner, remember to keep your needles down if it doesn't already stay down, and you want to pivot. And make sure that you are that you also have that seam allowance still going strong. You want to slow down at the very end. And friends, we are done. We want to go ahead and cut off the little tails. Now, I just hope that the tag stayed in place. This is the first time that I'm doing that with this method on a pillowcase. We shall find out together. Just make sure that you poke out the corners. Let's see what we have. You guys, look at that beautiful pillowcase. So pretty. Looks 100% professional because it is. All your edges are perfectly straight and nice and neat and not messy with all the frayed, like, raw edges, because since we did this the French seam, okay, oops, now you have clean edges. You don't have no raw edges inside of your pillow where you're washing it over and over and over and over. And if we would have not done the French seam, that would have been just fraying away over time, right? And it's just, we've all had a one of those like really super annoying pillowcases where like there's just threads everywhere, right? Nope, not with these, because you just learned how to enclose those ugly raw edges. So, I mean, I'm so proud of you. You just made the cutest little pillowcase. Well, not little, but you know what I mean. And you have added a very personal touch. You either have branded the pillowcase with your tag for your business, or you have, tagged your pillowcase with a special message to a friend or family. So, congratulations. Look how beautiful. All right. So, I am going to go ahead, put this to the side for now. And I'm going to read comments for a minute. So that way I don't feel 100% like I'm failing you guys by ignoring you. And we are going to be doing another one. And this time we are moving on to a sports themed, but we're not using the Brother Project Runway sewing machine. This time we are going to be using the Serger. Let's see. Thank you so much. Let's see. Yes, Barb. Yes. The French seams makes so clean on the inside. Absolutely. Joanna, hello. Welcome. I bought the rotary cutter and didn't use them for a long time because I would always mess up. Now I use the ruler that comes with it. Yes. So mine also came with the ruler. Well, I had a rotary cutter that was attached to the ruler, and um I it kind of broke. That's what I used for years before I had the courage to try this handheld ruler. And then when it broke, I was like, all right, let me just start using them. And now I just can't go back. But yes, I do need to replace it because it's always like I feel like it's important to have one of those rulers. Thank you so much. All right, so let me go ahead and take this down. Thank you so much, Connie. Okay. So, and in just a few minutes, my kids will start coming in from school. So I might have to like pause. If you guys can't stay for the Serger portion of the live, that's totally fine. You can always come back. It will be up. It'll still be here, and you can watch that section at a later time. But I might have to pause for a minute and say hi to the kids and come back because this Serger, the Serger part is actually like pretty, I don't know. Now that we went in like with details with this first one, this section here is going to be pretty easy, I think. Like I don't think that I need to go with such extensive. And my kids have arrived, you guys. They are singing outside as they're walking through the parking lot. So give me 1 second, okay? Let me. You hear them yelling? Okay, I'll be right back, you guys. I promise. Give me like 1 minute. And we're back from that brief intermission. All right. Let's see. So the serger that I have is the Brother 1634DX. I don't know. I'm gonna take all this off. All right. See, I always have a command hook so that I have a scissors everywhere. All right. So friends, I am going to power this on. I am going to grab a, this is my cleaning rag, but because I want to figure out, I want to make sure that the threads are all good. Yay. Okay. Put that off to the side. So again, we have the same exact measurements. Okay. We do have the same measurements. I love this serger because it comes with this little like garbage bin. Amazing. For all the threads. So this is 24 inches wide, well, not wide, but long, and this is 12 inches wide, no, long. And this time around, we are going to be using the same, the cuff is going to be the same as the body. Okay. I was considering of doing, let me see, am I still on camera? Yes. Okay. So I was considering of using a bias tape for this side here, but the bias tape that I have is very thin. And then I don't know. Do you guys want to see how the bias tape would look, even if it's not like perfect? Because it's going to be really, really thin. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? Okay, so let me just grab that. I keep talking about the bias tape, and I haven't yet brought it. So this is what I use. I love, love, love Mandala Crafts. They have, that's where I get my elastics from, and that is where I get most of my bias tape that I don't make myself. Now this one here, is this ½ inch? I think that this is a ½ inch bias tape. Okay. I will go ahead and link this down below. I get these straight from Amazon, so I'm going to put that to the side for now. Yes. Okay. Again, we are going to start the same way. Now, this is a wider machine, so it'll be a little bit funky. You know what? I just noticed that this was folded in the middle, like way off course. So I am going to fold it again and make sure that it lines up correctly. You see, I don't know if you can tell. Look at that, like way off. So if we would have, gone by that fold, we would have been so wrong, so mega wrong. So let's iron this and fix that situation. And I mean, no matter what I do with this iron, I will never be able to actually take that crease out. So I'm not trying to like fully eliminate it, but I'm just trying to recreate another seam. And while we're here, let's just, so that we don't have another problem. Again, it's not perfect. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and open out the entire thing. Let me see. I'll just do it this way. It's okay. And now we're going to go ahead and take our bias tape. Again, it's going to be really, really thin. But this way, I'm going to go ahead and let me just measure. Is it? Yeah, it's half. So remember, we are going to put the body of the pillow facing up, the pretty side facing up. And we are going to take the top of the bias tape. Okay, the top of the bias tape or the seam, the raw edge per se. And we're going to put it on the top. I do like to leave a tail hanging. And for the sake of this being so thin, I'm going to just pin it like right away. And this part here might be a little bit more challenging because, again, at least it is for me right now, because it's a very thin bias tape. Just making sure that it's flat as you go down the edge. I'm gonna be off camera as I pin this side here, and then I'll pull it up. The same rule kind of applies typically, that if you did start it in the middle, it would have been better, but Okay. Almost done with this step. Again, it's not a race. Even though if you see that I feel like I'm rushing, it's just because, well, welcome to my channel. Hi, my name is Nairo, and I'm always super anxious about like everything. But okay, so now we have this part here. Actually, let me go ahead and cut the bias tape. Okay, so now that we have this here, we are going to take the cuff and we're going to, with the pretty side facing down, we are going to match it up to the edge. At this point, we are going to add more pins wherever it needs. Okay. And make sure that you add as many as you need. Don't feel like you shouldn't, because now we have that bias tape to worry about, you know. Make sure that you are going through all of the layers and that it's staying flat. I might just be quiet, trying to focus on pinning. My back, you guys. Oh man. Okay. These pins are horrible. I do not understand how some pins can be this bad. Okay, now is the fun part. We are going to turn this around with the cuff on the table. Okay, make sure that it's flat. And we're going to start rolling upwards. This is called the burrito method or the sausage roll. And it's very similar to a scrunchie method, right? Now we're going to go ahead and take the bottom edge of the cuff and we're going to bring it up just like we did with the other one. Now, as you are taking the pins and repinning together, again, if you have clips, that works too. I just think that the pins are a little bit better to hold and make sure that you're going through like all of the layers and that they're not shifting at any point in time in this process. But when you do this step here, we want to make sure that you go through it. All the steps and don't like pinch yourself. I do not like pins, you guys. I don't. That's why I get quiet every now and then when working with pins. Whenever I'm working with pins, because it will happen. Make sure that it's flat. Technically, you guys, if I would be making this to sell or speaking of which, let's add the tag here just so that we can have a different location, right? Of where the tag could be. So let me add these pins and then we will add another tag. This one is not needed, but I am going to add a clip. Okay, so here is my tags. Let's see, because this is going to be serged, I'm going to just take advantage and put it somewhere here. I should have done it before I did all this whole process. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it like between the body, right? Between the body. I'm trying to envision it being done between the body and the bias tape. So that way it can be okay. Yep. I kind of lifted it up a little bit just so that I can see. And then the top layer will be right there. I think so. I think that's going to be okay. But we shall see. We shall find out together. And that's it, my friends. Let's get to the serger. All right. So we already know that all the numbers here are good. My numbers for the settings, I don't know if you can see here, it's all 4 straight across. Okay. And because the pins are facing towards the shoulder and not towards my neck, I am able to just go ahead and fling it right over my shoulders. Just like the scrunchies, we want to make sure that the body of the pillow is all towards the center. We don't want to surge over it. And in this section here, I'm actually going to go ahead and take the blade off. Because of the camera, I can't move it around. I cannot show you at this time how to release the blade, but it's something that I can try to point it out in other videos. I don't know. I don't know. I can help you at another time, but like right now, I can't move the camera, so I'm so sorry. But in this step, just please note, you can have the blade on if you'd like, but because my bias tape is such a thin bias tape, I don't want to cut off any more than I have to, so I just took it off. Let me snap this off because I don't need such a long tail. Okay. Just line it up with the edge. Let's go. Just remember to take the pins off, okay? As you go along. I feel like we're not gonna see basically nothing of the bias tape. Almost done. Do not forget to take the pins off, okay? You don't want to break a needle. And the worst that's like the worst. Oh, that's right. I'm so used to like flinging the tail around to cut it, but I don't have the cutter, so there it is. Now we have super clean edges, so we don't have to worry about it. Super clean edges. Looks really good. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and pull the body from the inside. I don't know why. Oh, I was grabbing the wrong, like the wrong thing. Okay. Let's see. So I did my tag upside down, or backwards, I should say. That's fantastic. Fantastic. But it's upside down for sure. It's okay. It's all right. And then we do have a peekaboo style bias. Okay. Super peekaboo. I guess it's all right. It's okay. I already knew that it was gonna be some funny business because it was only half inch. But yeah. All right. So now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to bring out the iron. Let's see. While this heats up, let me look at some comments. Okay, I was here. Oh, they do. I don't have any Alex straws. That has been a dream of mine. But that is actually very good to know. Hi, Patty. It's actually really nice here today. It's almost 40 degrees. It feels like spring. Let's see. Yes, I haven't done that, Barb. I haven't made the mistake of forgetting to pull one of the pins out just yet, but I have seen others, and it doesn't look pretty at all. Okay, Veronica, as soon as you can, I say go for it because um it's a really good companion to a sewing machine. Absolutely. Are you using 3 cones? So I am using all 4 cones. I have never tried to do any projects with only 3 cones. I'm still very new to the Serger world. Uh, so I don't know. I don't know. But if you do a video of any kind, I'm here to watch and learn. Wink, wink, wink. So yes, Veronica, my mom used to be a seamstress for many, many years, and I had never heard her speak of sergers. Never. And Barb, you asked if I have tried you doing a rolled hem. Also, no. We have spoken a lot about it on Discord because Z and other friends have tried it, but I have not. I really have not. Oh, I didn't have the body like straight when I was pinning, and I have a little pleat here. I mean, this is just gonna be for my kids, so I don't mind, but it's something to note that it will happen and it doesn't look good. So we have to make sure that whenever I said, like, make sure it's flat, make sure it's actually flat. Oh man, this iron. This iron is Man, okay. All right, so at this point, we are here and look at how my tag, it should have been on this side. It's all right. It's okay. Now I know. Now I know. All right, so we are going to do pretty sides touching. Pretty sides touching. Edge to edge. But I am going to make sure that the middle seam here is going to match up. Now, this is the difference between the first one that we did with the French seam and this one is that with the French seam, we were doing ugly side, touching ugly side, and it kind of looked like we were done at that point, right? But with this one here, we are doing it the other way around. We are going to be folding so that the pretty side is touching pretty side. And what we're looking at is the wrong side. And I'm going to put a pin here in the middle. The clip that I had flew away, so I am going to pin it. It's very bulky with a bias tape there. It's very bulky. But we're not going to start sewing or serging at this moment because what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half and we're going to cut off that we are going to cut off that selvage situation. So when I feel confident about where it is, again, I'm going to line it up. This is 22 inches. I am going to cut it at for this because we are not doing the French seam. I am going to cut it down to 20 and a half. By the time that we serge and do all of that, it will be a 20 and a quarter inch. So that's perfect. We're going to take the ruler. I'm trying to, there it is. Now, do not forget to take the pin out. And be careful with that bulk. Okay, because it is bulky. And before I grab the whole thing and move it, I am also going to remember to be careful so that it doesn't shift a lot. I'm going to put a pin on this corner. And I'm going to grab the middle seam. And I'm going to pin it. Okay. Now, just for good measure, I am going to pin. You can pin all the way around, but I'm just going to pin in the middle, on the corner, and in the middle here as well. Boom. For good measure, let's do the corner as well. And now we are ready to serge all of the edges. And yes, friends, we are almost done. Okay, so you know what? You can go ahead and serge this edge without the blade, but I love the blade. I don't know why, it just gives me a little bit more. Again, like I said, I am still quite new to the Serger world, so I feel confident using more confident using the blade than I do when I do not use the blade. So for an edge, a straight edge like the one that we're about to serge, I just put it on. And I just make sure that I line it up with the edge of the presser foot, and you could go right ahead and get started. Let's go. Remember to slow down whenever you get to that bulky middle seam, and you also want to make sure that as you go along, pull those pins out. Ooh, is that too bulky? I might have to serge that one more time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. For the corners, I know that there's tips and tricks across YouTube. Some of you might know more about what to do when you're going to pivot on corners, but I just go straight through, cut, and go again. I only do this for corners. If it's a curve, that is different. For whatever reason, I didn't go straight, and let me just. Okay. Okay. So for the sake of, let me see. Oh, I do have one. Okay. Never mind. All right. So I am going to go ahead and put all of these little tail inside. I don't know if there's any like quicker way of doing this step here, but I just grab a wide eye needle, tapestry needle, and then just pull it through. Let's see. We are almost done, and I'll catch up with comments. Now this one is backwards. This is just so that the edges don't come undone whenever you are washing your pillow cases over and over. And always go backwards when you're pulling the tail in. One more corner. Oh, I made a knot. I don't know how. It's okay. So I'm just gonna, it's fine. It's totally fine. Typically, we'll just put that in through as well. All right, friends. So let's see. Let's flip it outside in. Remember to poke in the corners. Now these edges inside also end up being super nice and clean because there are no raw edges, right? Like it's so nice to know that you can, use this over and over and over and not have to worry about all those like raw edges. All right. Well, friends, we are almost done. Look at that seam. Nice and like almost perfectly straight. We did so good. Yay! So we are going to go ahead and iron one more time just to make it, just to kind of like iron down, flatten out those seams. I told you there's a lot of ironing. Okay, now we are really, oh, look at that. Right when we're done, technically, um, the iron decides to like fully be turned on. So let me just take advantage and do that. All right, friends. Well, yay, congratulations. You just completed your pillowcase with the serger. How fun is that? The inside is nice and neat with the serge raw edges tucked in and put away. And you even added your tag. I put it backwards, but I'm sure that you did it the right way. So if you guys, let me actually fix this here. Hello. If you guys enjoyed this live video, please hit that thumbs up. It'll let me know that this was something that you did enjoy and that it is helpful to you. I know that it is a lot longer of a live than what we are typically getting used to with the Teaching Treasures tutorials that run about an hour and a half. We just hit a little over 2 hours, but we did 2 whole projects. Okay, we went ahead and did a pillowcase, a standard size pillowcase in 2 different ways. So this is the pillowcase using a sewing machine. And we also even added a tag. And this is the pillowcase, exact same measurements, exact same pillowcase method using the burrito sausage roll method. And also we added a tag on a different location, but this one was using a serger. So, friends, let's see. Let's look at comments. One second. Let me go back up to the rolled ham. Okay, so we are here. Marissa, me too. Me too, girl. I need to go to Barb's class. Sign me up. Let's see. You're welcome, Cece. Okay, so I now cut up. I didn't see any like questions or anything like that. So I am going to end off here, friends. Let me see, where is the mouse? Way over there. I am going to be ending the live here. I will be updating the live towards the afterwards, and I'll add 2 different chapters, so that way if you only have a sewing machine or if you only have a serger, then you can just jump to the section, to the part of the live where I am making either one of these pillowcases. And I will be adding some links down below, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I will try my very best to answer them. And also I wanted to add one last thing. I am going to be working on all the different topics that is going to be coming up in the near future. So if there's something that you would like to see here in the Teaching Treasures tutorials, please let me know. Comment below, what is a project that you would like to see a step-by-step process of, and yeah, that will be amazing. I would like to hear from you guys. Unfortunately, I do not have a community tab, so I can't do a poll of any kind there. I'm working towards that community tab. I'm trying to reach that first 500 subscribers, and we are literally almost there. We'll get there soon enough. And until then, in between all these videos and lives, I will be asking all these little favors and questions and curiosities, right? So again, friends, if you have any topic, any project in mind, anything at all, it does not only have to be about sewing or serging. We can do embroidery as well. We are going to be doing a lot of embroidery, and I have a silhouette cameo too, and we're gonna be eventually also doing some projects there with that as well. So friends, literally the topics are endless. So if you want to see something, let me know and we'll make that happen. Just put the ideas down below. Until next time, friends, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and like the video if you enjoyed watching. Bye.